the gambling gulags. 8 years ago in Portugal, a new law came into effect that many predicted would have disastrous consequences. The country decreed that possessing or using any illicit drug was no longer a crime. But instead of becoming a drug haven, official figures now show that drug use and drug deaths in Portugal are actually down, while treatment numbers are up. From Lisbon, here's Mark Easton.
At the end of the world, I went to see Maria. This area near Lisbon gained its name and reputation from illegal drugs. But over the past 8 years, residents have seen a remarkable change.
This woman is smoking heroin. In most of the world, it's a crime, but here in Portugal, there's no way she'd be sent to prison for it.
Because in July 2001, Portugal decreed that the purchase, possession and use of any previously illegal substance would no longer be a criminal offence. One consequence is that every day at the end of the world, health and social workers now dispense the paraphernalia of heroin use.
The work we do in the street teams is to reach people that will never come to the normal, the regular services. If we criminalize the users, they don't come with us. They are afraid to say that they use drugs. Now we can reach them.
So what's been the result? Well, when the law came in, many predicted disaster, that plane loads of drug tourists would descend on Portugal knowing they wouldn't end up in court.
But what one politician at the time called the promise of sun, beaches and any drug you like simply didn't materialise. In fact, since decriminalisation, the consumption of drugs here in Portugal has gone down.
These heroin addicts queuing for medicine are among tens of thousands of drug users now in treatment in Portugal. Drug deaths here have fallen substantially, drug-related infections are down, and official figures show overall drug consumption is also down. Among teenagers, it has fallen for every substance.
The apocalypse never came. We don't know if it's the change in the law or whether it's because Amy Winehouse and Pete Doherty are in the news again. We don't know what stops people taking drugs, but we can see what hasn't happened. And what hasn't happened is that there hasn't been an explosion in drug use, as you might expect. Common sense says one thing, but in fact the statistics are all pointing the other way.
Drug trafficking remains a serious criminal offence. Portugal hasn't legalised drugs. But with users, instead of a costly criminal prosecution, they may be sent to a local dissuasion commission. Possession is still technically prohibited, and the panel of social workers, psychologists and legal experts can fine people. But mostly, they look for ways to help users get clean.
We try to dissuade people to do drugs. We don't forbid them, but we try to inform them about the risks that they are taking while they are doing drugs, so they eventually do a more conscious decision about that.
Some remain unconvinced. The police are not alone in questioning the success claimed for the new regime, particularly the suggestion that decriminalising drugs has caused their use to fall. There's also clear frustration among officers that individuals once labelled villains are now regarded as victims, and that the non-criminal commissions are a soft touch.
If you try to send someone to the commission, most of the people, I think maybe 19% of the cases, if not the 100%, they don't show up because there is no punishment.
The commissions suggest only 30% of people don't turn up, but some addicts are also sceptical that decriminalisation has improved matters.
If it's not a crime, they will keep using till they fall down and die, for example.
In the 8 years since Portugal shocked the world with its drug policy, the idea that users need care, not punishment, has swept across Europe.
In 10 EU countries, possession of some, if not all, illegal substances are not generally pursued as a crime. And only last week, the United Nations told governments that drug users need medical help, not criminal retribution.
Portugal is proud of its drugs policy. They claim the results are conclusive and the approach enjoys popular support. While some question aspects of the system, very few would argue that decriminalisation has been the disaster predicted. Mark Easton, BBC News, Lisbon.